Yo, what's up guys, it's King Sean here, back with another video, and in today's video, I'll be going over the Commanders' finalized coaching staff. I'll be doing a short overview of it, and giving each hire a grade. So, if you guys are new to my channel, leave a like down below, subscribe, turn on notifications. I'm on the road to 3K subs. If you could, hit that sub button, I'd really appreciate it. And with that out of the way, let's get straight into the video. Alright, so this is our finalized coaching staff. We're going to start on the offensive side first, starting off with Dan Quinn, obviously head coach. You know, at first when we hired Dan Quinn, I'm pretty sure this is for all Commanders fans, wasn't a huge fan of it, but after seeing the guys he hired, we knew that Dan Quinn would bring in a good staff. He was going to hire good guys, professional guys, experienced guys, so we knew he was going to put together a good staff. And I'm not going to lie, I'm excited to see what this staff does. Obviously, it looks good on paper. We still have to see how they do, in training camp, OTAs, mini camp, and in game. But right now it's looking good. So if I had to grade this Dan Quinn hire, I'd give it a solid B for now. I just give it a solid B, B minus, but probably a B. Next up, let's go for our offense. Cliff Kingsbury, offensive coordinator. Love that hire. One of my favorite hires of this hiring cycle for our coaching staff. Cliff Kingsbury, he's gonna make our offense look way different than what it was last year with under Eric Bieniemy. I mean, Eric Bieniemy, that our offense, it's not that it looked horrible, but Eric Bieniemy's play calling was terrible most of the times. I mean, we threw the ball Howell early on in the season for like the first side of the season. He was throwing the ball 50 times per game, 50 times on average, or like 40 times, somewhere between that. But it was insane with the amount of times Sam Howell was throwing the ball, and that goes on Eric Bieniemy. He did not run the ball at all. And when we did run the ball, it worked with Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson. We averaged like 4.3 yards on the ground. And Cliff Kingsbury, although he runs the air raid system, he's going to come in here and run the ball even more with Antonio Gibson. Well, if we resign Antonio Gibson, Brian Robinson, Christian Rodriguez, and whoever else we bring in here. So I love this Cliff Kingsbury hire. I would give it a B plus for now, but it could definitely change later on down the road. David Blau is an interesting hire. He was announced a couple days ago, assistant quarterbacks coach. I like this hire. He's only 28, by the way. This is his first coaching coaching opportunity. He played under Cliff Kingsbury with the Cardinals, I'm pretty sure, for about 1 or 2 years in 2019 and 2020. So he's got experience under Cliff Kingsbury's offense. Andre Coleman, he is a former NFL wide receiver. He played for the Chargers, Steelers, and Seahawks. And he is going to be our offensive assistant coach. And I think this is a good hire as well. I don't know a ton about him, so I'm just going off what I'm reading online. So I think this is a good hire. He's very experienced. He's played in the NFL, obviously, and he played wide receiver, so he's gonna help guys like Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson. If we bring back Curtis Samuel, him, De'Ami Brown, and whoever we bring in through free agency or the draft, he's gonna help develop them even more. So I like this hire a lot. I'll give this hire a solid B plus. Then we got Bobby Ingram. We're bringing him back. I like that a lot. Bobby Johnson. This is the first questionable hire we made this hiring cycle. Obviously, he was the Giants' O-line's coach for the past 2 seasons. He was pretty bad. I mean, the Giants' offensive line was pretty bad this past season. I think allowing 85 sacks is really bad. I think that's really bad, and a lot of that falls on Bobby Johnson. Obviously, they didn't have a lot of talent. I mean, they had Andrew Thomas. Andrew Thomas is probably their only good offensive lineman, was their only good offensive line this past season. But Evan Neal, he wasn't great his rookie season. He kind of regressed this past season, 2023. They had John Michael Schmitz, the rookie, as their center. I liked him a lot coming out of last year's draft. I had high hopes for him, but he just wasn't great this rookie season, and a lot of that falls on Bobby Johnson. So hopefully, I'm going to give Dan Quinn the benefit of a doubt, okay, but this is definitely a questionable hire. For now, I'll give it a D, but it may change down the road. Down the road, depending on how our offensive line plays during regular season games. Then we got Brian Johnson. He was actually named our assistant head coach, obviously, as well as our offensive pass game coordinator, but assistant head coach too. I honestly thought it was going to be like Joe Witt Jr. or Cliff Kingsbury, but assistant head coach goes to Brian Johnson. That's pretty interesting. Obviously, he was the Eagles' offensive coordinator this past season. He had some questionable calls towards the end of the season, but for most of the season, he really wasn't bad. I mean, the Eagles' offense still ranked top 10 in both running and passing categories. I think they were 7 and 8. And the year before that, he did a very good job developing Jalen Hurts as the Eagles quarterbacks coach. So I really like this hire as Brian Johnson. He's not going to be calling plays. He's just going to be helping Cliff Kingsbury out with designing some of the plays, but he's not going to be directly calling the plays. So I like this hire a lot. I give this hire an A, to be honest. I really like this hire a lot of Brian Johnson. Then we got Anthony Lynn. I'm going to give this hire an A straight up. Anthony Lynn, he's a great offensive mind. I know he wasn't the greatest coach for the Chargers, the greatest head coach, but he did make the playoffs with the Chargers one season. They went 1-1 in the playoffs. He is great at developing running backs. I mean, he did a great job with LeSean McCoy when he was with the Bills. Great job with Austin Eckler. And for the past 2 seasons with Christian McCaffrey. The Niners run offense ranked first this past season, and in 2022 ranked 11th. So he's definitely good when it comes to handling and developing running backs. What else we got here? Tavita Pritchard, he's coming back. David Raya, we hired him as our tight ends coach. He was formerly the Buccaneers wide receivers coach or an offensive assistant on the Buccaneers coaching staff. This is another interesting hire because, like I said, he has had experience with coaching wide receivers. I'm pretty sure he worked with Vanderbilt as their offensive coordinator and offensive assistant. So he has had some experience working with the wide receivers, but this is another interesting hire because he's going to become our tight ends coach. So he's never worked with tight ends, so we'll see. I'll probably give this hire a C plus for now because, like I said, he doesn't have that experience working with tight ends, but I will give Cliff Kingsbury, Dan Quinn the benefit of a doubt because he has ties with Cliff Kingsbury. Darnell Stapleton, assistant offensive lines coach. I like this hire a lot. I'll probably give it a B. And then Shane Tube, he is coming back as our offensive quality control coach. Next up, defensive staff. I'm kind of running out of steam here. Stay with me. But Joe Witt Jr., he's going to be our defensive coordinator, obviously. Love this hire a lot. The Cowboys were actually going to promote him, thinking about promoting him. He was the favorite to be promoted to defensive coordinator, but we poached him from their staff onto our staff, and he's not going to become our defensive coordinator. I like this a lot. His press conference a couple of days ago was absolutely outstanding. I loved his press conference, so I really like this hire of Joe Witt Jr. I'll probably give it a B plus as well. George Benko, he will become our defensive quality control coach. He worked with Alabama under Nick Saban's staff for his entire career, really. So, coaching career, really. So, this is a really good, if you worked under Nick Saban, it's a good hire. All right, Dan Quinn, he know what he's doing with that hire. So I like this hire a lot. I'll probably give it an A just for the fact that he worked under Nick Saban, and Nick Saban had some of the best defenses with Alabama in college football history. So really like that hire a lot. Tommy Donatel, this is another questionable hire because he was the Chargers defensive pass game coordinator, and y'all know this past season the Chargers secondary pass the Chargers secondary, specifically their passing game defense, ranked bottom 4 in the NFL, which is pretty terrible. Now I know Brandon Staley, he was pretty bad, but still, bottom 4 in passing yards allowed per game. That's really bad. Obviously, we were the worst team when it came to defensive passing yards allowed per game. I think we allowed like 290 or 300, which is absolutely terrible. But this is a questionable hire. Like I said, I'm going to give Dan Quinn the benefit of the doubt. But we will see. I will right now give this hire probably a C minus. I don't think it's worse than the Bobby Johnson hire. The Bobby Johnson hire, very questionable. I'm not a fan of that hire at all because the Giants' offensive line was really bad this past season. But so was the Chargers' defense. So we'll see how this hire goes. We'll see how this hire turns out to be. Then we have Sharif Floyd. He's our assistant defensive lines coach. I like this hire a lot because Sharif Floyd, he used to play in the NFL back in 2012. He was drafted by the Vikings, and he was pretty good in the NFL. I'm pretty sure he had one season with like 4.5 sacks and two more seasons with like 2+ sacks. He was a really good defensive tackle, but unfortunately, injury did end his career early in 2016 or 2015. He took a little break from the NFL, then was hired to the Cowboys defensive coaching staff, and then he is now our assistant defensive line coach. He's still really young at 32 years old, So he's going to be very relatable. He's going to have good connections to the guys we already have on this defensive line, like Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne, and Fedarian Mathis, as well as John Ridgway. So I like this hire of Sharif Floyd a lot. William Gay is another hire I absolutely love. He was a former DB. Oh, sorry, I forgot to grade the Sharif Floyd hire. I'll give that hire an A minus. As for William Gay, assistant defensive backs coach, love that hire. He was a former cornerback for the Steelers, so he's got that experience playing in the NFL. So this is a really good hire. I like it a lot. I'll also give that hire an A. So far, our assistant coaches are some really good guys, some really experienced guys who used to play in the NFL. Ryan Kerrigan, he's coming back as our assistant linebackers coach and pass rush specialist. I love that a lot. Ken Norton Jr., one of my favorite hires. He's going to be our linebackers coach. He used to play in the NFL. His father, Ken Norton, he's one of the only guys that defeated Muhammad Ali. So, hey, that's great itself. But, man, Ken Norton Jr., he's an experienced coach in the NFL and he used to play in the NFL. I love that a lot, and I love how experienced and diverse our coaching staff is, because we got guys who used to play in the NFL, guys who have a lot of experience coaching in the NFL. So I really liked how diverse our coaching staff is, and one of the and it includes Ken Norton Jr., who has a lot of experience in both coaching and playing in the NFL. So I like this hire a lot. This is the first hire that I'm giving an A+. That's how much I love it. It really is. John Pagano, senior defensive assistant, he used to coach the Broncos, the Saints, the Texans, and the Chargers, so he has a lot of experience as well, coaching on the defensive side of the ball. So I like this hire a lot. This is a hire I'll give a B+ or A-. I'll give this hire an A-. I really like this hire. He's another experienced guy that we're bringing in. Jason Simmons, he helped develop guys like Jair Alexander when he was with the Packers, Nate Hobbs with the Raiders, Rock Ya-Sin. So, hey, and he's a young guy too. He's only like he's in his 40s. I'm pretty sure like 44, 45, maybe wrong, but I love this hire of Jason Simmons a lot. Obviously, it was between him and Mike Adams to become our defensive pass game coordinator. We chose him, and I love this hire because he has experience developing young cornerbacks, young defensive backs in general. Daryl Tapp, he will be our defensive line coach. I'm pretty sure he coached with the Cardinals and Buccaneers as well as on their defensive staff. I like this hire a lot as well. I'll give this hire a B. And then finally, Larry Izzo, I'm going to give this hire a straight up A, because the Seahawks special teams, these past 4 seasons, they've ranked top 10. I'm pretty sure like 8th, 5th, 10th, 7th. So, hey, them Seahawks special teams, really good. And we got a guy like Jeremy Reeves, who was a special teams Pro Bowler in 2022. So, he can work with him, develop him really well, and other guys we bring in on our other guys who work on special teams as well. All right, I'm out of steam at this point. So that is really it for today's video. That is our whole entire coaching staff. Comment down below what y'all think about our coaching staff, where we had good hires at and where we didn't have good hires at. That is it for today's video. Like I said, hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, leave a like down below, subscribe, turn on notifications. I'm over the 3K subs. If you could hit that sub button, I'd really appreciate it. And other than that, it's been King Sean, and I'm out. Peace.